I am society. You are society. I mean, that's just the cold hard fact. Society's fucked. Well, yeah, sure, but I'm part of it. So what am I doing? For me, like, there's so much conversation around, like, how do we change men and how do we change the country and how do we do this? How do we do that? Change yourself. Change you.
Welcome to the On-Site Podcast. We chat with contractors, educators, industry professionals about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So without further ado, let's fucking get into it.
All right, welcome back to the On-Site Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Sean Whalen, just a dominant U.S. figure in the industry, and I'm incredibly excited to have this conversation with him today. He's an entrepreneur, he's a father, he's a business owner. He's been through a lot of shit in his life, and I'm sure today's conversation will uncover so much. Sean, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, dude, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do. Just give the listeners a little bit of context.
Like you said, I'm a dad. I'm a business owner. I love my life. I am proud to be an American. God bless America. Yeah, man, I love my life. Like I always tell people, like, just Google me. You know what I mean? Like I wrote about my past in my book, how to make shit happen. But yeah, I love living life, man. I love building business. I became a grandpa a year ago. I love being a dad, love being a grandpa, love just absolutely freaking living.
I love that, man. And last night on your story, I noticed that your son got another
Dude, 2 shootouts in 1 week. I'm so damn proud of that kid.
That's
you know
crazy. Crazy. How proud must he be just, being a goalie? First off, my son also plays hockey. He's in his last year and he's turning 18. So he's kind of in his last year transitioning into becoming a welder. But it's a crazy experience when you watch them grow. But as a goalie, be in 2 games like that, what a wild experience as a kid. And then also as a father, to be there to watch both of those experiences. Just, you could even hear, like, on your stories, the way you were, just the pride that was coming through on your voice, dude. Very, very similar feeling. My son's always been a defenseman his whole life. And in the last couple of years, decided he wanted more points. He wanted to score more. So he moved up to become a forward. And so the other night he got his second hat trick in the longest time. And that's not really a big thing that, these kids get to experience. So it was crazy to have different similarities, between our kids. So, tell us a little bit about, like, what are you doing today? Like what's Sean doing right now?
I'm just navigating life, man. Like I'm in the middle of a divorce right now, unfortunately. And it's been taxing. It's been frustrating. It's been a really difficult situation. I mean, anybody that's been through a divorce knows that. It was very unexpected. I was only married for 36 months. And, long story short, it's a difficult thing, especially when you're in the public eye and people are watching and there's kind of 2 sides to the story and whatever else. But, I really am enjoying building my ranch and running Lions, Not Sheep. I've got a new program coming out that I'm really excited about. I've been running the Lions Den. We've had over 52,000 people join my coaching group in the last 10 years, and it's been incredible. It's been a truly life-changing experience for me in the sense that I've been able to meet so many people. I've stood on stages and spoken with the best in the world. Jordan Peterson, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella. It's been incredible. So kind of, I don't want to say reinventing some things, but just really kind of slowing things down, spending more time with my kids, spending more time building my ranch. You know what I mean? So It's actually really fun. I'm really enjoying it.
I don't know what stage you are at with with your ranch itself. Like, you're building, is that a Barndominium? Is that what you're kind of building in the back? So what is that at drywall stage yet or no?
It actually, well, not drywall. We're starting framing next. So we got the radiant heating in, the concrete.
Cool.
It's been an interesting project because it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's not like really close. So getting people and contractors and stuff, it's kind of a big deal. But we had some broken concrete and the garage we had to rip up, and so it's been a couple of years. But one of those projects where I know at some point in time I'm going to be smoking a cigar on that back deck.
I've been following it.
It's all worth it.
I've been following it along, and it's got a beautiful view. I see you're always posting the sunset and enjoying the country out there. So I mean, that's going to be a great experience for you, for your kids, and for your grandkids as well. And and honestly, I think that's why we do a lot of this. I know that you had a little poll the other day, and I asked you, what makes you proud, and like without hesitation, it was your kids.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm the same way. I went through a divorce. It was uncomfortable, still living in that nightmare, unfortunately, a little bit, and ultimately the people that are the most affected in my situation are my kids, and so they do recalibrate me. They do really, pull the pride out of me, and it's cool that is so similar with what you've done. So, dude, you have been all over the place. It's an incredible privilege to have you on here today, and I'm thankful that you took the time out of your day to be
Thanks,
with
man.
me today. It means a lot. And I think sometimes, I've got some other people in my life that I try to pay it forward and give them some kindness and a little bit of outreach and support like that. And so I appreciate you doing that for me today. So most of the people that are going to be listening to this today are going to be, people that are in construction, contractors that are just trying to get through some shit, people that have probably gone through divorce, people that are potentially struggling in some way just to keep their pride and motivation. Like, what are some things that you can, I guess, let's talk about like your history outside of the entrepreneurial world, because it seems like you're self-managing the Barndominium. I believe you are. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
That's presumptuous, but I believe you're self-managing that. So that would mean that you've got a little bit of construction experience. What is your tie, to the construction world?
Oh, I've done a lot. I've done over 3,700 flips. I was a big real estate investor. And so I had crews and teams in 13 different states. And I mean, I go all the way back. I remember one of my first real jobs was in landscaping.
Yeah.
Digging ditches and shit like that. People are always like, oh, dude, come get in the trenches with me. I'm like, bro, I paid my dues. I don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? I know what it's like to be in the 100-degree heat digging ditches for friggin' 10 hours a day. So, I'm 47. I don't need to go back to that shit. Like, I'm smart. I pay somebody else to do it. But on a more personal note, like, I love creation and
Right.
I love like seeing something come from nothing. And that was like really cool about this Barndominium and this ranch that I bought is I bought this 500 acres and didn't have a plan for it. And so I started looking at Barndominiums and things and what do I do and what do I want to do? And so being able to go out to that spot and like literally figure out the angle of the house and where I wanted it and how I wanted, it to, I'm kind of a nerd over that. I was looking at like where the sunset patterns are and, in the spring and in the fall and shit like that. So I love creation. I mean, I love working with my hands. In fact, you mentioned welding. It's been kind of on my bucket list. Like I love art and I do a lot of art, but I just actually bought a welder and I'm going to teach myself how to weld because I'm just fascinated by welding and I love art. So I love all of that, man. I just love creation. I love seeing something come from nothing.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, welding is something like I've been in construction my entire life. And so welding was something that, I never focused on, but I was also fascinated by it because it was so creative. I'm also a bit of a creative person, and so I can definitely relate with, how you're placing the house to get that sunset, to get that vibe, the way it lays out in the bedroom and in the living room and in the kitchen and like, where you're going to catch your coffee. Is the sun going to be rising? Is going to be, setting? I think that, we're really similar with that. And so with welding, I can tell you a bit of a story. So my son, I bought him this welder. He pisses around in the garage and we've got a few different things, but he has been working part-time at a steel fabrication shop for almost a year now. So he's about to graduate and he already has a job that he's going to be working up on the road, kind of on a pipeline, making bigger money. And, so this Christmas, he made his girlfriend a little rose bouquet out in the garage. Super cool. Super fucking cool. Like I was like, dude, this girl is going to be like stuck on you.
That's awesome.
You're literally putting a giant weight inside of her room. And so I was out there helping him a little bit just with like creative direction. He can weld, he can fabricate, he can cut it up, but it's definitely cool to see the artistic part of it come together. And I think that with, your flavor, I think that you'll pick it up pretty easy. Like it's not hard. You're literally sticking two things together. There's super technical elements to it, but for what you and I are doing potentially, out in the garage, I think you'll be pretty good at it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to weld my house together or whatever else. Like, started following this guy who does big statues, and he's an artist, and that's what got me on it. Is he just collects the most random shit. He has this huge scrapyard of metal, and he just pulls these things and he creates these incredible statues and grinds them down on the whole thing. I was like, I want to try that. So I've got a bunch of metal that I've started collecting up on my ranch and kept like a shit ton of the rebar that left over from the foundation and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited about it, man.
Dude, that'll be awesome. I'm excited to see those creations come to life. I'll make sure that, I let my son know that you're going down that road. There's a lot of people that are, supporting me around, in my group. And as I transition into this online space, I find that you lose a lot of people along the way. As you age, you lose a lot of people. And so I'm curious, like, you've got your kids, you've got your grandkid, and like, who are your people that are around you? Because you're out here, mentoring all these people, supporting all these people. You're on all these stages, you're doing all these things. But like, who's your person or your people that you get to kind of just bounce some shit off of to get that support and validation from?
Yeah, I've always had coaches and I've always had mentors, and that's something that's really important to me. But I learn from a lot of different people. Like, I extract wisdom and knowledge from a lot of people. I try and find people that are ahead in the game in every facet than me, whether it's my fitness, whether it's AI. This guy, Tom Bilu, who sold Quest bars. I met him a couple of times, at dinner with him a couple of times, and he's just huge into AI and the value and the knowledge that he puts out there. So like, I'm always extracting stuff from guys, and I chose to use social media a little bit differently in the sense that, I can fill my feed full of bullshit and rubbish and this, that, and the other, or really learn. It's like an education. It's almost like a university. You've got multimillionaires, billionaires giving you their information, and people are like jerking off with stupid shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but like, my feed is full of like successful, wealthy, ripped guys, and I'm constantly learning from them. So I don't really have one specific person, but I've got a really small, really tight group of people that I can call, anytime I need something. But I love social media for that fact, man. I love the fact that, like, when I'm sitting on the shitter and I've got 5 minutes and I can look through and learn something that I didn't know 5 minutes ago. Like, I'm infatuated with that. It's like welding. Like, I literally just I want to weld. So I start following welding pages and different welders, and I'm watching. It's the same thing with painting. Like, I wanted to learn how to paint. And so I started following all these cool artists and like watching how they mix their paint and how they layer and how they do different things. And it's like, I'm just infatuated. Like, my brain is like a sponge, just constantly like taking in new shit.
So relatable, and even when you talk about the welding shit, my feed is very similar. It's like, whatever I'm focused on in that kind of season of growth. But when my son told me, he's like, yeah, I'm going to become a welder. So it became my like hyper focus. And now my feed was just full of fucking like welding shit. And so I'm DMing him all this stuff. He's like, oh, check out this or look at this. And so him and I are just going back and forth. But it's crazy how quickly you can, because that's also not in my feed right now anymore. You know what I mean? It's changed so quickly. And sometimes you have to go in there and manually kind of recalibrate it so it brings you back online with what you're really focused on. And I mean, that's awesome that you are using it that way. I think that's truly what I believe the tool is intended for. I think that so many people use social media as a tool of poison. They just like fixate on these fucking keyboard warriors that are, heavy liberals that just have the dumbest shit to say about, whatever it is in your life. And, I know that, you and I believe are very similar with our political, positioning and just how, the world has become so weak. Like, men have become so fucking weak, unfortunately. And there are a lot of strong men out there that are just trying to, progress in a forward direction, provide for their families and be happy.
Hey, we've got an ad here. Make sure to pay attention. What's up, guys? Are you a contractor or business owner looking to take things to the next level? Well, I've got something for you. The Elite Builder Society is a community that helps contractors grow and scale. For $49 a month, you can have access to 20 group coaching calls. Look, you're probably wondering, how am I going to show up to 20 calls, Brandon? That's a lot. And yeah, it is a lot for $49 a month. But every call is recorded so you can watch it at your leisure. But you get the best experience when you're live on the call with us. Okay, at the end of every webinar, there will be a Q&A where you can ask the industry expert questions that you can implement into your business. Look, if you're ready to take things to the next level for $49 a month, go to ebsworks.com and register today. I look forward to seeing you inside the community.
If you had an opportunity to talk to, somebody who's, just buried down in social and absorbing it in the wrong mindset, like, what are some things that you maybe would share with them that could maybe, get them to be recalibrated, remotivated about the future?
I mean, dude, it's just stop. I mean, it's that simple. Like, it's the same thing with like, hey man, I struggle with drinking. Well, then fucking quit.
Yeah.
just fucking quit. Just don't drink, figure out something else to do with that time. When that energy comes in and you're like, oh, I want to drink, like go do 100 push-ups. When I want to go do whatever. I mean, my mindset is shifting a little bit over the last couple of years, and I maybe am a little bit more brash. I'm a little less sensitive because at 47 years old, I look at grown men that are like, oh, I have a hard time on social media or whatever. I'm like, bro, get a fucking grip, man. You're a grown ass man with kids and you're complaining about, I can't stop drinking. You can stop drinking. Like you just don't do it. Right. And I know that sounds really unsympathetic to people. And for a long time, like I was like, oh, let's talk about it. Like, what's the emotion behind it? And what's the reason behind it? And like, to be really candid at this stage in life for me, like if that's not important to you, then it ain't going to be important to me. I don't give a fuck. And I don't mean to be a dick, but you got 3 kids there. If those kids are not a good enough reason for you to stop doing dumb shit, I can't fucking help. What is Sean Whalen going to say? Read a book? Watch a motivational video? Look, motherfucker, you got kids. If those kids are not motivation for you to be the baddest ass version of yourself as a man, there is nothing that I'm going to say that's going to change that. There's no book. There's no course. That's it. So I don't know, like the game's kind of changed for me in a lot of ways over the last few years. And I think it's really because the reality of mortality is upon us. You know what I mean? Like I've got friends that are passing away that, and it's like, dude, my clock is ticking. The last thing I want to do is sit around and try and coddle a man to tell him that, I get sucked down the rabbit hole on social media. I'm like, well, you spent 30 minutes doing that while your kids are in the other fucking room. Yeah. Put your goddamn phone down and go play with your kids, motherfucker. Like Sean Whalen doesn't need to tell you that.
No, that's honestly, the cold hard truth to this whole thing is like, I've also gotten pretty brutally honest, in a lot of the coaching calls that I'm on with people. It goes down the conversation where, the individual will project their struggles that they have. And then you throw the why, like what if you did this instead? Like, coddling them and rubbing their back is not something that a real man needs. Like a real man needs the cold, hard truth. And the facts are that there are tools. And that's the craziest part about this life that we live right now. With AI and all this technology, we could be fucking monsters. Like you can literally be a monster. This device can change your life. Yeah. And most people just are so slow to react to the things that they need to do to move their life forward that by the time they get to that position, it's just like, it's already fucking on to the next step, and I think grown ass men really need to, reflect on the shit that they're complaining about and really dig in and grind their heels down and just lock in and become, that dominant figure. If you've got kids, I mean, it's different because I know people that have kids and people that don't have kids. And I personally think the right man with kids, they're just more driven, they're more focused on the shit because they have more to lose. And that mortality thing that, is creeping up behind them really says, have I set my kids up for success? Like, have I given my kids the tools to succeed in life? Because, there's also this fear that, even I have, like, society's fucked. And it's moving in a crazy direction. Like, how do we prepare our kids, to live a quality of life that, we would dream of them to live when society is so fucked? And I think that forces us to be even more of a man. We have to become more of a dominant figure in their life so that they carry the same level of confidence. What are some things that, maybe you're doing to try to prep your kids for, the best successful version of themselves?
I am society. You are society. I mean, that's just the cold, hard fact. Society's fucked. Well, yeah, sure, but I'm part of it. So what am I doing? For me, like, there's so much conversation around, like, how do we change men and how do we change the country and how do we do this? How do we do that? Change yourself. Change you. Because at the end of the day, no offense, like, I don't give a fuck what y'all are doing in Canada. No offense. I don't give a fuck what 99.999% of people are doing in America. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what the president's doing. I don't like the corruption, just like you don't like the corruption. I don't like the lies like you don't like the lies. I don't like pedophiles like you don't like pedophiles. But what am I doing every day as a father of a daughter and 2 sons and now a grandson? I am building the baddest ass version of me as the example, period. End of story. I have 2 sons that are watching me every day. What are you doing? How are you showing up? Like, that's it. And again, this is the propaganda machine, and this is, where guys go down the rabbit hole. And it's like, we're so busy complaining about what everybody else is doing or not doing. We're so busy complaining about what, the government's doing or that guy's doing or this guy's doing. And at the end of the day, our kids are glued to their fucking phones for 5 hours a day. Our kids haven't had a guy's night out with dad or a daddy-daughter date in months.
Yeah.
So I really don't give a fuck what's going on. But that's one of the reasons that I'm starting this Brotherhood. I've been coaching for 11 years now, almost 11 years. And it's been on my heart and it's been on my mind for like the last year, 2 years.
Yeah.
About assembling men. And at the end of the day, blue collar, white collar, doctors, lawyers. I mean, a welder has a skill set that a CEO doesn't.
Correct.
A $70,000 a year soldier has a skill set that a $500,000 a year brain surgeon doesn't have. And what I want to strip away is all of this ego and all this bullshit and bring a massive group of men around the same table to start marching in the same direction. Like if I have to tell you that being fat is a liability, it ain't for you. If I got to tell you that like being addicted to porn and drugs or drinking is a problem, it ain't for you. But like what I realize is that there are a lot of other men out there like me. There are a lot of other men that enjoy being a father, that enjoy being a provider, that aren't addicted to vices. And I think one of the best things that I can do is just lead myself, lead my family, but then at the same time, assemble these men around the same table so that we can shine the light and be like, no, like our masculinity is not broken. It's not gone. It's not toxic because here's a million fucking men out here doing the damn thing. And I think that's the next phase for me. That's the next chapter for me is launching this Brotherhood, which is actually going to happen this week. But yeah, man, like for me, it's leading me. It's building the best version of me so that when you see me, they see me. When I take my shirt off, they're like, Jesus Christ, Sean is jacked. Like I'm 40 something years old and I don't look like that. How do I look like that? Or he's building a ranch or he's doing this or he's doing that. It's like, I'm not telling you what way is right or wrong. I'm just saying like, this is what I'm doing. If you want to roll with me, roll with me.
I love that, dude.
Don't, you know?
If there's room in that group for me, I'd love to be there because
it's open to every man. It's literally open to every man. And I'm kind of going against what most other coaches and gurus and guys are doing. I mean, it's $27 a month and it's not a coaching group. It's not a therapy group. It's not a mastermind. It's a fucking table for men to sit at. Because I know what you guys talk about when you're smoking cigars and you know what I talk about when we're smoking cigars. But where is the conglomerate? Where is the group of men that can actually change some shit? You don't understand what I'm saying? Because you're over here and he's over here and Andy Frasilla's over here and Sean Ryan's over here and Joe Rogan's over here and everybody's got their little tribes and their little pods and we're all talking shit and, you know, we're all sharing memes online and we're all pissed off about pedophiles, but what the fuck are we actually doing? And I keep coming back to the reality that like we all want to do the same thing, but we can't do it individually.
No.
You know what I mean? Like one lion's not sheep is dangerous, but a pride of lions is unstoppable. It's unstoppable. Yeah. So for me, I'm building the table and I'm just going to invite men to it. Pull up a chair. Yeah.
That's exciting. Dude, I love your energy. I always have. You know, when I first followed you, I first off really resonated with the fact that you just were a very present father. I thought that I really resonated with that because I didn't have a father in my life and I didn't really know, you know, what being a father should be, but I know what I wanted it to be. And so that's why I really became the person that I am as a father. And then, you know, when my divorce took place, it really forced me to step in as that, you know, even more amplified version of myself and just be the grounding force for my kids. And I really felt like when I, you know, supported your content or was behind your content, I really felt that same energy and that meant a lot to me to, you know, that you put that shit out there because there's a lot of people like all these people that we, you know, you've listed off, you know, we don't know if they're good fathers. We don't know if that's their grounding force. And I think that so many people forget to share just the real version of themselves and they share just the version that, you know, their feed maybe wants to see them as. And so, you know, I appreciate that you show up real each and every day and you get hate along the way. We all get hate along the way. There's a very small tribe of, you know, puny people out there that just want to try to cast a shadow over us and try to dim the light. And sometimes those are people that are in your circle too. They creep in. Actually just did a post about this because there was a few people that were trying to creep in and I've gotten really good at deleting people. You know, if you don't fit in the box, you don't want to be a part of this, you don't want to support, you know, universally or just be a proud positive person and you're toxic, I don't want you in my circle. And I make those 100%. Decisions just super quickly.
What's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying this episode of the On-Site Podcast. So here's the deal. We want to grow this show and we need your help. It's simple. Pay the tax, share the show. That's it. Let's get back into it.
Dude, is there anything else, you want to share with us just about like some inspirational things? I mean, this new group, like where, if people want to join this new group, where are some places that they can, lock in on that?
It's really simple. lionsnotsheepbrotherhood.com. The vision that I have with this is go back past the Epstein bullshit. And I know that it's real up there as it is down here.
Yeah,
and you guys all see it and the
for
whole
sure.
thing. But like, I've been having the same conversations, for years, man. And the conversation keeps coming up like, well, what are we going to do? It's the same question that I've talked to. I don't even know how many guys, like, what are we going to do? And then we all pop off. We're like, fucking hang pedophiles. Like, we got to roll some heads. And it's like, yeah, no shit, bro. Everybody's saying that. And by everybody, I mean everybody. Like every God-fearing, gun-toting, flag-flying, patriotic father and man is like, let's fucking hang some people. We're all on the same page there. But the problem is, like, we said that after COVID, and we said it after this, and we said it after this, and we watch insider trading. And, in America, like, our politicians are some of the most corrupt on planet Earth.
For sure.
They're shitbags. I mean, it's like
it's the same thing here.
stealing in front of us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like the bully. Here. You remember the bully on the playground? Like the bully would like beat up a kid and then he would turn around and all the kids were watching. He'd be like, what? And nobody would do shit because they were scared of the bully. That's literally what's happening. I mean, that's what happens in your government and our government down here is the government's like, yeah, we're stealing from you and you can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm looking at it going, all right, they're not wrong. It's not like one dude's going to just go in there and change the whole thing. But what would happen if I could put 1 million or 2 million or 3 million men around a table? We haven't done that yet. We haven't tried that.
Yeah. Like
we've tried a whole bunch of other shit. We share memes all day long. And this is where I think a lot of guys, they don't see it. They don't get it. Cause it's like, oh, just, you're either lethargic or you're just not, you don't really give a shit. But I understand that 1 or 2 million men sitting around a table is a fucking revolution.
Yeah.
That's a fucking revolution. And I'm not talking about just gearing up and whooping ass. I'm not talking about just, start slinging lead. I'm talking about like, all right, Andy Frisella, you're going to run for governor and 1 million of us are going to throw $50 into your campaign. That's $50 fucking million.
Yeah.
Do some research on how much it costs to like win some of these government, Congress, Senate. What would happen if we had 2 or 3 million men and we just start picking off politicians? Right. And not like picking them off. I'm talking about you're out, bitch. You're out. You're out. It's a revolution, bro.
Love that.
The problem is that we don't have all of these men like me, like you, sitting around the same table. We just DM each other. We share each other's comments. And so my vision for this brotherhood is literally putting everybody in one place. We have one app. I built an app for it. It's completely private. We have our own communication network. I'm going to do monthly town hall events all over the country, a different state every month where the brotherhood can come, bring your friends. And that's the reason it's $27 because it's like, I got to pay for the app and have a team to help support and manage this kind of a thing. But just vision 1 million men rowing in the same direction. 1 million
there's more than
rowing in the same direction.
I feel like there's more than 1 million.
I know there's more than 1 million. Yeah. I know there's more than 1 million. I know that there's tens of millions, but like, I also realized too that, for our country specifically, 1775, it was 3%, you know what I mean? And Paul Revere rode to town and was like, yo, here's the deal, man. The British are coming. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Are we going to sit here and watch this shit? Are we paying another 1.5% to that fat fucking England, like for tax or no? And that's kind of where I look at it right now is I'm like, I want to bring 1 million, 2 million, 3 million men around the same table because that's a revolution. That's an army. And I'll put it on record. I'm not talking about slinging lead and whatever else. If that's what needs to happen, then it will happen. But right here, right now, like I understand culturally, I mean, Canada, US, the same thing. I mean, you're watching people that are frail, weak, old men and women dictating the lives and the education system and where your tax money and my tax money go. And I'm like, you don't represent me.
Yeah.
You don't represent me. So you got one of two choices. I'm going to build a little army. I'm going to build a revolution of men, and we're going to tell you exactly what we want. And I would be willing to bet that we speak for a vast majority of people in this country. And, I mean,
when it happens, right? When this group of men, congregate around this table and start discussing some of the true topics that are at large, the similarities in the conversations will be very similar. I've got a daughter. And so, here in Canada, we have some disgusting people as well, not just pedophiles, but we also have vicious criminals that are put back on the streets, not that long ago. Like in Calgary, there was a guy who stabbed his fucking daughter in the throat. And then he was laughing about the fact that they let him out on bail. And so he was out on bail before he was getting his trial. And he's just out there roaming the streets with his car painted up like a fucking loony bin. He's living in his car. And I'm like, how can this guy just be publicly traveling the world when he should be buried under the prison? Like these vicious criminals, just the reality is, 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, 5 time. How many fucking times does it take before we understand that, hey, if we put this guy back out there, there's a guaranteed problem about to happen? I really think that, you get maybe one time, and you're fucking buried under the prison. I think that's the safest place for these people, because, with my daughter, growing and becoming a young woman, I want to make sure that she's safe. And so I'm all for this group. I think that
this is the thing, though. You're saying that, Brandon, but what are you doing about it?
Dude, I'm doing as much as I possibly can with the resources that I have.
That's my point, is you're saying it, and I would be willing to bet that a vast majority of Canadians are saying the same thing, but the dude's still on the streets.
So that guy specifically, I think he was actually arrested. So there was a bunch of people that exposed him, that brought light to the situation.
Cool.
And we shared it with a few different people, because the only way for those problems to really get the attention they need is to publicize them. You have to publicize the problem so that fucking people on the other side have no choice but to deal with something. And that's one shitty way of dealing with it, right? That's one shitty way of dealing with it. But in this situation in Canada, you're so limited with what you can do. You
guys don't have guns up there. You don't have guns, send them down to America.
We barely have anything. I mean, we have tampons in men's bathrooms.
Yeah. What you're saying is exactly my point, is that there's a lot of these conversations happening. And so a million men, whether it's publicly shaming people, whether it's exposing people, whether it's, throwing some lead, whether it's whatever, that's what I realize, is that if you had a million people that it could expose the guy or do this or do that, then you can create change.
Correct.
Like you can force the hand of the leaders to do what's necessary, whether it's publicly, whether it's privately. And that's the reason that I feel like, us assembling an army of men around the same table with the same vision. I don't think there's a single dude that would be sitting at the table that's a father that would disagree with anything that you're saying. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're like, here's the plan, go. Yeah. Here's the plan, go. And when you have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million men marching in the same direction, like with the same vision, the same morals, the same principles, I think that's a powerful place to be.
No, and I know I'm in a different country. We have similar problems, so to speak. And so I'm down. However I can help, whatever I can do to support, what you're doing and be a part of it and be a part of the change and the impact is really what's important to me. Is I want a place where my kids can roam happy and live free and be comfortable and safe and confident in their own space. And so if there's something that I can do to assist with, corralling these forces of men, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
dude, this has been a great conversation. I'm really thankful again that you took some time out of your day to jump on here with me. Means the world. If anybody is looking to, follow Sean, where can they follow you on IG?
Just my name, Sean Whalen.
There we go.
Yeah,
all right.
Sean W. Whalen.
Yeah, I'm sure anybody that's listening knows exactly who this guy is. But if you don't know, fucking just Google it. Appreciate it, Sean. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, that concludes this episode of the On-Site Podcast. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, please pay the tax, share the show. Guys, if you want to be a part of the Elite Builder Society, all you got to do is pay $49 a month. That's it. $49 a month. You get 20 group coaching calls every month. Okay? Go to ebsworks.com and register today. If you enjoyed the show, please pay the tax and share the show.